All right, this is the Tony the Tiger again. And I'd like to talk about something that I've noticed is sort of absent from, late millennial, mid Zoomer, maybe even early alpha culture, the art of the best friend. Um, the art of the best friend is a sort of unspoken, implied rule that if you know it, you know it. But there's been a lot of factors that have removed this from their lives. COVID and homeschooling, the lack of public spaces like malls and arcades where people used to hang out together and actually establish this personal interaction. Middle schools now having a lunchroom only lunch that's a half hour long and that's your only break all day. The 20-minute lunch, which is a very uncomfortable normal that we should not be allowing these children to accept as a normal. Lots of little factors like that. All of their socializing being online instead of in person, that kind of thing. All right. I like to refer to the best friend treatment as the quadruple A treatment. It consists of attention, admiration, agreement, and affection. Generally, you want your relationship to encompass all four of these principles to the fullest of their effect. Now, once you've decided through a little investigation that a person may be worthy of a place as a best friend and not just an associate or regular friendship, the best way to go and make that happen is to simply go and establish these principles with those people and watch them be mirrored back to you. Not everyone is going to be receptive to this sort of thing, and you shouldn't immediately take that as a personal degradation of your character or an outright rejection. Sometimes they just don't vibe back, and that's also okay. Don't beat yourself up over it. So the first A is attention, okay? And it mostly comes down to this. Whenever the choice to be together exists, you choose to be together. A lot of times you want to engage with at least one physical sense with one another, such as your vision, touch, um, being close enough to smell them. It's a little creepy, but it's also, that kind of closeness. Always talking or listening, you know, or just embracing their existence, their presence. The difference between a regular friend would be like, hey, if a regular friend asks you what you've been watching, you talk to them about a TV show or a Netflix show, where a best friend will like pull something up and make you really experience it with this. Yeah, like, oh, check out this popped up on my feed today, da 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 da, and you experience it together. Because it's not about sharing the idea of the experience, it's about sharing the experience itself in the moment. Um, the second A is admiration. You should always be in admiration of your best friend, and they should always be in admiration of you too. Anytime they are brought up as a subject, you are to gas them up and straight in their face, whether they're there or not, directly behind, whenever possible. And you should be authentic and honest with it as well. You don't want to write, you don't want your mouth to write a check that they can't cash. The other thing we like to talk about is dares, and it's one thing when you're a little child and you dare someone to do something stupid just to see what happens. That's part of being a kid and experiences and growth, and it kind of ties into this. But as you get more mature and grown, your dares change. They're not to get your friend into these awkward situations and laugh at them anymore. The ideal dare is the combination of where your friend wants to do the thing and they're scared of doing the thing. They want to talk to this girl or man and they're scared to do it. So you got to dare them to do it. You got to double dog dare them to do it. They want to get a pet. You got to dare them to do it. They want to go for this new job or promotion. You got to dare them to do it. And then the other difference here is whether they win or lose, you back that up. You back it up with affection, you back it up with reinforcement. So even if they fail, you still get a good experience together. Okay? Finally, you never leave without a hug or a secret handshake. Um, some people are hugging people, some people are not hugging people. Secret handshakes take a billion different forms. you'll develop it kind of naturally as you go. Um, the third A is an agreement. You're sort of always in an applied alignment with one another when you're out. If they're right, you back them 100%. If they're wrong, and it's not like a mission critical emergent situation where someone's going to get hurt, you kind of double down and back their wrong just to make their argument look better. If it's really against your principles, you can always tell them in private later, but in the moment when you're face to face with them and someone opposing them, you back them 100%. Finally, you'll be out and about and, you know, you'll hear, you'll be in the middle of a conversation, and if they're around, you can just kind of shout out, hey, isn't that right, so and so? Now, the common sense kind of thing would be like, hey, what are you talking about? What are you saying? Can I agree? But the best friend alignment sort of supersedes that logic. Um, you basically just say right away, fuck yeah, you tell them, that's what's up. You have some kind of personal language that expresses that reinforcement. You fire it off instantly. Don't ask them what they're talking about. Don't think about what they're saying. Just affirm it immediately. Because at worst case, maybe they're just cracking a joke about something. And at the worst case, you get a giggle about it. Nothing offensive is even really offensive between the two of you anyways, and we'll touch on that a little more in this next section. The fourth A is affection. Ideally, there is no or very few physical contact boundaries or any boundaries at all between the best of best friends. This could be hugs, this could be inappropriate groping and contact, it could be sneak ups and surprise attacks, it could be jabbing, tickling, pinching. Whatever is comfortable and acceptable, the fewer boundaries exist between the two of you, the better the relationship tends to be. You can make exceptions, do it early on, respect those boundaries, because some people need it for medical reasons, some people need it for mental health reasons. But yes, it should be as engaged as possible and affectionate. Verbal affection is also this kind of weird tickling point, especially trips up neurodivergence. Um, Basically, any sort of verbal interaction is affection. If it's kind hearted, if it's abrasive, if it's humorous, like calling you bro or sis is the same as calling you slut, whore, hoe, or asshole. Like any name is an affection name. All statements about back and forth between you, like I love you or I hate you, it means the same thing. You're the best, you're the worst, it means the same thing. Um, Everything is done in mutually understood playfulness and affection. Um, but yeah, and usually all interactions begin and end with either a strong full body contact hug for at least 5 seconds or a secret handshake. It's kind of done to prevent imposters or deepfakes, but at the same time, it's also just a healthy thing to experience that touch. The touch is a very vital part of the best friend experience. It is a sense you crave for reasons. Okay. A few other things to keep in mind when choosing your best friend and choosing who to be a best friend for. The best friend status is a huge honor. It is not just being their friend, it is not just being their family. It is even a little bit higher than the lover's spouse because it comes with the ability to revoke things from the lover or spouse that you see that's unfair, and they might be lovesick and blinded to, or they can call your partner out on those sort of things as well. Um, you also should be as immediately as possible available for crisis intervention for any kind of sudden shock that your life has, like you're getting dumped or fired, or some kind of disaster, or you're just in a bad space. If you're in deep focus, like you're working on a project or you're in the middle of something really important and you haven't saved, like give them and I'll get right back. Give them like a 5 to 15 minute window to do that. But as the friend who does that, save your work right away, stop what you're doing, and get back to your best friend when they need you. Like, no questions about it. Well, I hope taking this unspoken language and speaking it to a new generation of people who may not have even had the opportunity to have this kind of connection in their life can sort of encourage you to build these connections again with each other and with yourselves. Because it's definitely a big part of both male, female, any kind of loneliness epidemic you think you're feeling. You're missing that physical presence of a best friend that is just always on your side. And we all need that. See you later.